NinjaTrader 8.1.7 just added built-in economic news events. Wait, what? Isn't that what we do? But honestly, that's not even the most important part of this release, because once you look past the headline feature, there are actually some really solid upgrades to charts, trade visibility, drawing tool workflows, and a bunch of other bug fixes that could matter a lot more once you start using this day to day. So in this video, I'm going to break down all the biggest features and the bug fixes that traders will probably care about the most. And at the end, I'll tell you about whether or not I think this is actually a meaningful update or just some small version bump.
NinjaTrader 8.1.7.
Well, NinjaTrader finally did it. They put a check mark in that box. They now have an economic news event calendar. I know what you're thinking, like, you've seen ours. Well, what's the difference? Okay, so let me just give you a lowdown here. They put in a news event calendar as a window. You can see it. You can filter by high, medium, low, and that's where it stops. Okay, so what ours does that you can do beyond that, it's made for traders. What we do is alert you to, well, we have 90 days of historical news, 14 days of future news. So for back testing, if you're a developer, you can integrate with it. You can use our plots and get access to our tools. You can then also sort it by country. You can sort it by specific event. All right, the next feature that I think a lot of traders are actually going to feel right away is faster last price updates on the chart. According to the notes, charts will now refresh with the last traded price more frequently, so they are more closely matching with the SuperDOM. And that matters because even small chart responsiveness improvements can make a platform feel a lot better when the markets are moving fast. So this is one of those updates that might sound, well, not very exciting on paper, but in reality, in real use, it could be one of the better quality of life improvements in the whole release. Trade lines for all chart orders. So this is another strong one. I think that people are going to like. Before this, trade lines were not as consistent across the board, but now profitable and unprofitable trade lines are going to be available for all chart orders, not just NinjaScript strategy. So that's going to be a nice visual improvement for traders who manage positions directly from their charts, because better visual feedback usually means faster decision making and less second guessing. Next up, the static SuperDOM is now free for all users. That's going to be a big win for some traders because it removes the extra fee or entitlement barrier, and it now supports all instrument types instead of being limited to futures. This is the kind of feature that has a broad appeal, even if it doesn't change your own workflow personally. A lot of users are going to see this as probably a big solid value upgrade. And then there is one feature that I think is underrated, but honestly very useful if you are chart heavy, and that's the customizable drawing tools menu. Now you can hide drawing tools that you don't use, and that's going to help you declutter NinjaTrader, which is going to be great if you want your workflow to be just a little bit faster. Now, if you are chart heavy, and I know I am, I love using the Stream Deck. We do have a product for it that allows you to turn all your basically NinjaTrader functions into hotkeys and do so much more with orders and whatnot. So you don't even have to have NinjaTrader running on the screen in order to do half this stuff. So it is really critical. If you want to check it out, check out the XABCD hotkey program. It has all the Stream Deck plugin that you would probably need, and break even with one button. It's really useful. Dial up your quantities. You get the idea. Now, with that being said, I don't think the features are the most interesting part of this release, because after the first few days, what usually matters most is this. Did they fix the things that were getting in your way? And in 8.1.7, there are actually quite a few fixes that traders are probably going to care about more than the headline features. So template selection removed drawing tools shown on our charts. This is one of the biggest ones. Selecting a template by right-clicking from the menu could remove drawing objects that were set to display on all charts. And that's a nasty workflow issue if you're relying on drawings across multiple charts. So that's exactly the type of bug that can make a platform feel unreliable. So I'm glad that this one got fixed. The next one was drawing tool tiles were difficult to move, and they also fixed an issue where delayed data notifications made it difficult to move drawing tool tiles. Again, it's not flashy, but the interface feels clunky when you're trying to type and work fast, but it gets annoying really quickly. So they did fix this. I'm glad that they did. Real-time bars outside custom trading hours. Let me break this down. This is basically more serious. A real-time bar could form outside of your custom trading hours. That can affect how you might interpret the chart. So this is definitely one of those more important trust chart fixes in the update. Renko timestamp issues. Okay, so for Renko users, this is one that stands out. Basically, the Renko timestamps were not equal or sequential, which caused related errors. So that's a very specific issue, but for anyone using Renko-based workflows, this is going to be a meaningful fix. Rejected orders shown as trigger pending. Okay, so then on the other side, there was a bug that rejected orders were incorrectly shown as trigger pending. That's a pretty important fix because order state clarity matters a lot when actively managing trades. Duplicate canceled events. Now they also fixed a duplicate canceled event not properly being checked whether an order was already canceled. That sounds technical, but anything around order handling deserves attention. The 24-hour licensing server lockout. So this is one that really jumped out at me. Editing pop-up messages could cause a 24-hour licensing server lockout. That is such a weirdly specific issue, but it's also the kind of thing that can create serious frustration if you run into it. All right, so what do I think of this overall NinjaTrader 8.1.7 release? Well, I think the built-in economic calendar will get the most attention. It's easy, it's basic. People are going to want to crave more, but to NinjaTrader, it's going to be a check mark saying, yes, we have this in our product now. But I do think that if I'm being honest, the most meaningful value of this update is probably going to be the combination of chart responsiveness, as well as like the workflow cleanup they did and the bug fixes around the charts, the drawing tools, and the orders. So this doesn't feel like a massive revolutionary release to me, but it does feel like a pretty practical one. And sometimes that's actually better. Now, if you don't like reading release notes and like these videos, we do release them as soon as NinjaTrader releases their updates. We get our pre-release of 8.1.7 well before you guys do. So we have this video ready to fire off as soon as they publish it. So if you do want to get updates to future NinjaTrader releases, make sure you do subscribe, hit that like button if you appreciate this sort of stuff, and we'll see you guys in the next video.